Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Tianan and today I'm going to be telling you guys all about the books I want to read in October as part of the Magical Hopathon. So in case you don't know anything about the Magical Hopathon, it is a Disney World inspired readathon hosted by one of my best friends here on BookTube, Rachel from Rachel Kerris. Some of you may know that on October 1st it will be Magic Kingdom's 50th birthday, and so to celebrate, Rachel has decided to create this readathon based around the 4 parks at Walt Disney World. In every one of these 4 parks you must complete 3 prompts, so there is an attraction prompt, a snack prompt and a show prompt. And I'm being very ambitious this month guys, and I've decided to try and complete every single prompt for this readathon. Not gonna lie to you, I'm not sure how this is going to go. If you don't know, I have recently started my teaching job, and even though I definitely feel like I'm getting used to that job now and have fallen into it, I'm still finding that in my free time I'm not particularly reaching for books to read. Instead I will just sit down and watch a film or watch YouTube. So I'm in that sort of mood at the minute, but I'm really hoping that this readathon will get me out of this weird slump that I'm in and will just reignite my love of reading again. I will of course have all of Rachel's links down below, including the announcement video for this readathon, so if you would like a more in-depth look at it and just want more information about it in general, please do check that out. It's an amazing video. Rachel has just done so much for this readathon that I'm just in awe and I'm so excited to participate. Before we dive into this video though, please do make sure to check that you are subscribed to my channel. We are getting so close to 3k on here and honestly I cannot believe it. Your guys' support means the absolute world to me. I cannot wait to celebrate hitting 3k, and I think once I hit that I will start looking at this channel and start making new and exciting changes as well. So if you're not subscribed already, please consider doing so. And with all that being said, let's just dive into the TBR. Of course, you cannot go into any of the parks without your entrance ticket, and so to kick off this readathon, every single park has an extra prompt and you must complete this prompt first in order to continue on with the readathon. So I've had a look at all the different options and I've decided to start at Animal Kingdom, and the park entrance ticket prompt for this one is to read a book that involves nature. For this one I've decided to go for Lost in the Neverwoods by Aidan Thomas, which is a Peter Pan retelling. You will see a few retellings pop up in this stack, mainly because this is a Disney readathon and I do want to try and get through my Disney inspired books, and so what better one to kick off this readathon with than a retelling of one of my favourite stories. So in this one I believe that it starts off with Wendy and her 2 brothers vanishing in the woods of their local town. Wendy however makes it out, but unfortunately her brothers don't, and Wendy cannot remember a single thing about this. When this town's children start disappearing though, the disappearance of Wendy's brothers is brought back to light, and so the police do end up turning to Wendy for answers. I believe she then tries to run away, and when she does so she stumbles upon a boy lying unconscious in the middle of the road. Peter, a boy that Wendy thought lived only in her stories, asks for her help to try and return the missing children. However, in order to do that, Wendy must confront what is waiting for her in the woods. I think this is just going to be the perfect book to kick off this readathon. Of course, with it being October as well, I do want to try and read more spooky books, and I think that the setting of this book is going to be perfect for that. The attraction prompt that I've decided to go for Animal Kingdom is the animation class, and so for this one I need to read a graphic novel or a manga. As I've just said, I am trying to read the spookier books this month, so I've decided to really push the boat out with this one and read Gyo by Junji Ito. This is going to be my first ever Junji Ito. If you don't know, he is a horror writer, and from what I've heard about his works, they are terrifying, so I'm really apprehensive about this one, but he's an author that I've wanted to read from for a while. I have been interested in these books, which is why I've picked them up, and I actually cannot wait to read my first Junji Ito. All it says on this one is, the floating smell of death hangs over the island. What is it? A strange-legged fish appears on the scene. So begins Tadashi and Kaori's spiral into the horror and stench of the sea. Here is the creepiest masterpiece of horror manga ever from the creator of Uzumaki, Junji Ito. Hold your breath until all's revealed. So definitely one I'm gonna have to read with the lights on. I feel like it's going to absolutely terrify me, and the fact that it's visual as well, I just know is going to creep me out. I am hoping that it's going to be a fast read though, which is of course perfect for a readathon, and in a very weird twisted way, I cannot wait to get to it. The snack prompt I've decided to go for in Animal Kingdom is the Mickey pretzel, and for that one I have to read a comfort book, and I've decided that for this one I will be reading Ghost Hunter by Michelle Paver. This is the last book in one of my favourite ever middle grade series, The Chronicles of Ancient Darkness. It's a series I reread every year if I can. I absolutely love it, and this year in particular I have decided to reread them, but instead of reading them physically I have been listening to the audiobooks. Let me tell you guys, that has just been the best experience. In case you don't know, the audiobooks are narrated by Sir Ian McKellen, who, if you don't know, is one of my favourite people on the planet. I absolutely adore him and he does the best job at narrating these books, and even though I did say that this is the last last book in the series. Michelle Paver has recently released 3 new books as part of this series, and I believe they do follow the same characters, it's just quite a while in the future. And I'm so glad now to put this book on my TBR for this month, because I have been putting off finishing this series for way too long, and I wanted to complete my reread of this before I moved on to the newer books. So the Chronicles of Ancient Darkness series is set in prehistoric times. Like I've mentioned before, it is a middle grade series, and we follow our main character called Torak. I obviously can't tell you anything about this book in particular because it would contain spoilers, but in the first book, Torak and his father are out hunting when they are both attacked by a demon bear. This bear does unfortunately kill Torak's father, and so it sets him on a lonely path to destroy this bear. He does find help along the way though, when he stumbles upon a wolf cub. And let me tell you guys, I think that's one of my favourite parts of these books. You do get Wolf's perspective throughout, and it's just so funny. What's also amazing about this series is that because it's in the prehistoric times, we do have different clans. So Torak is part of the Wolf clan, and we do see a range of different clans as we go through the series as well, which is so interesting because all the clans have different customs, they have their clan animal, and the way that they do things and live their lives are just completely different. And so obviously seeing Torak try and navigate this world by himself is just very interesting, and I just love seeing him on this journey as he grows into the person he ultimately becomes. If you couldn't tell already, this is such a comfort series for me. I would highly recommend everyone get to it. They aren't that long, they're about 200 to 300 pages, and obviously because they are middle grades they do read quite quickly. And I am just gonna stop talking about it now because I could go on for a while, so I've decided to go for this one for comfort read. Again, I would highly recommend you pick it up if you haven't already, and even though I know how this ends, I am terrified to dive into this book. The show that I've decided to go and watch in Animal Kingdom is Rivers of Light, and the prompt for this one is to read a book with a beautiful cover. Now I will just say I did have another book for this prompt, but because I chose Lost in the Neverwoods for an earlier prompt, I thought I could maybe do a themed reading vlog. So I have switched out the books that I was going to read, however the book that was for this prompt is going to be featured later on. Anyway, the book that I've chosen for this prompt is Straight On Till Morning by Liz Braswell. This is part of the Disney Twisted Tales series, and I haven't actually picked up any of the books in that series yet. So this is the cover, and it just says, "What if Wendy first travelled to Neverland with Captain Hook?" And if you don't know, the Twisted Tales series takes your classic Disney story and twists them to make them darker. Like I've mentioned earlier, Peter Pan is one of my favourite ever stories, so it's only fitting that my first Twisted Tale be a retelling of that book. I'm not going to say much more about this book because honestly I want to dive into it not really knowing anything. I know my friend Chloe over at Chloe Reads Books has read a few of these and hasn't been too impressed, which I'm a bit apprehensive about diving into them now because of that. But honestly, I'm just in the Disney mood at the minute, so any Disney content that I can consume, I will happily do so. And I know these aren't going to be the best books ever written, but if I can get that Disney feeling, then I will be satisfied. So I am very happy to have this on my TBR, and like I said, I am planning on doing some sort of readathon for these books. I might do a 24-hour one, we shall see. So please do let me know if you'd be interested in watching that down below. I just think it would be fun, and it would definitely get me to sit down and read these books as well. The next park that I've decided to go to is Epcot, and for the attraction prompt I've decided to go for Spaceship Earth, and the prompt for that is to read a historical fiction. For this one I've gone for Anne Boleyn, A King's Obsession, which is part of the 6 Tudor Queen series by Alison Weir. Now you might be able to see that there is a bookmark in this book. I am currently 60 pages in, but this is a book that I've been reading for 2 months now, and I really do just want to dedicate some time to it and finish it off. It's not because I'm not enjoying the book, I really do love it. I think it's so fascinating to read these books and learn more about the 6 queens, but as I've said, I've just been in a very weird reading slump and I haven't been reaching for this book as often as I should. So in case you don't know, this is the second book in this series. The first one follows Catherine of Aragon, which again was just as interesting, but they are historical fiction novels about Henry VIII's 6 wives. So when I first dove into these books, I did think they were going to be non-fiction. However, I soon realised that they are works of fiction. However, Alison Weir is a historian. She's written a load of books surrounding the Tudor era and the Tudor dynasty, so she definitely knows her facts. And what's brilliant about these books is that it's written as a fiction novel. However, you do get that factual information about their lives and everything that was going on in the time, such as the politics, different historical events, and all in all I just think it's really interesting and it's such an accessible way to learn more about the Tudors. Apart from that though, I don't have too much to say about this one. I think it's better to dive into these without really knowing anything about them as well, because even though you may have heard of these queens, sitting down and reading these books just opens your eyes to a whole new world and just gives gives you that appreciation for them as well. The snack for Epcot is World Showcase, and this is to read a book either set or translated from a list of different countries. And I do actually have this very lovely and helpful graphic that Rachel has created, so I can read off the different countries for you. There's Mexico, Norway, China, Germany, Italy, America, Japan, Morocco, France, the United Kingdom, and Canada. So this definitely gives you a lot of range to choose from, but I did ultimately go for Japan. And the book that I've decided to go for this prompt is The Decagon House Murders by Yukito Ayatsuji, which I do believe is a Japanese murder mystery novel. Now, you guys know how much I love my murder mysteries, and recently I have been diving into more translated fiction works for murder mysteries, so this is definitely a good shout for me. It is also under 300 pages, which is definitely a bonus for a readathon, and for this one I am just going to read you the synopsis because there is no way I could describe this to you properly. So it says, the lonely rock-bound island of Tsunejima is notorious as the site of a series of bloody unsolved murders. Some even say it's haunted. One thing's for sure, it's the perfect destination for the K-University Mystery Club's trip. But when the first club member turns up dead, the remaining amateur sleuths realise they will need all of their murder mystery expertise to get off the island alive. As the party are picked off one by one, the survivors grow desperate and paranoid, turning on each other. Will anyone be able to untangle the murderer's fiendish plan before it's too late? Now, doesn't that just sound amazing, guys? Definitely one that piqued my interest straight away. I'm hoping it's going to be a fast-paced book so that I can read it in one sitting, and I'm honestly so excited to do so. I feel like I haven't read a good murder mystery in a while, and this is definitely going to be the type of book that I need. And for the show in Epcot, I've decided to go for Turtle Talk with Crush. Now, the prompt for that is to read a middle grade or listen to an audiobook, so I haven't actually chosen a specific book for this one. I think this is going to be a prompt where I give myself a book that I want to mood read. I think I will probably go down the route of listening to an audiobook for a classic, such as Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde or The Picture of Dorian Gray, just because I feel like they're the perfect spooky books to get to this month, and listening to the audiobook for classics as I read along definitely helps me to get through them. Right, on to Hollywood Studios. The attraction prompt that I've gone for here is Rockin' Roller Coaster, and for this one I need to read a fast-paced book. The book I've decided to go for is Lemon by Kwon Ye-sun, which is another murder mystery book, however this one is set in Korea. You might be able to tell, but this is a proof copy. The actual book does come out on the 7th of October, so it does come out pretty soon after this video goes live, but I am part of the blog tour for this book, and I decided that it would be best to try and fit it onto the readathon where I could. This should definitely be a fast-paced read. I believe it's about 150 pages long, and as I've previously mentioned, it is a murder mystery, which I do tend to read quite quickly. Again, I will just read you the synopsis for this one because I feel like murder mysteries are so hard to describe, and I'd rather just read you out what is there. So it says, at once a gripping crime story and a fascinating dissection of class, gender and privilege in contemporary Korea, Lemon is the must-read novel of 2021. In the summer of 2002, 19-year-old Kim Hae-on was murdered in what became known as the high school beauty murder. There were two suspects, Jin Jung-jun, who had a rock-solid alibi, and Han Manu, to whom no evidence could be pinned. The case went cold. 17 years pass without justice, and the grief and uncertainty take a cruel toll on her younger sister Dae-won in particular. Unable to move on with her life, Dae-won tries in her own twisted way to recover some of what she's lost, ultimately setting out to find the truth of what happened. Told at different points in time from the perspectives of Dae-won and two of Hae-won's classmates, Lemon is a piercing psychological portrait that takes the shape of a crime novel. So again, it just sounds right up my street. It's definitely one I've been anticipating reading since I got it, and definitely make sure to check out my Instagram page and my Twitter page where I will be posting my review of this book as part of the blog tour. As a snack, I've decided to go for the Ronto wrap, and for this one I need to read a book that's outside of my typical genre. Now, this is another book that I've mentioned previously in a TBR video, and that is The Night Swim by Megan Golden. This is a book that I've been wanting to get to for at least 3 or 4 months now, but again, I just haven't been prioritizing it and haven't been reaching for it, so unfortunately it has been pushed to the side quite a few times, but this month I am determined to sit down and finish it. It sounds like something I would absolutely love, and I don't know why I keep putting it off. So in this one we do follow our main character Rachel, who is a household name ever since her true crime podcast Set an Innocent Man Free. Now she's back covering a devastating rape trial where a golden boy stands accused and the victim is the granddaughter of a local police chief. But as this is going on, Rachel is getting distracted because someone is leaving her very strange letters asking her to dig deep into the murder of a woman called Jenny Stills. From what Rachel knows, Jenny drowned, however the person writing these letters is insisting that it was a murder. The past and the present then start to collide as Rachel uncovers connections between the two cases, and she does actually uncover a revelation that will change the course of this investigation and also the lives of everyone involved. So this again sounds like it's going to be such a wild ride, but I do think it's going to be a very interesting read as well. As you can probably tell from the synopsis synopsis though, I do think this is going to be a heavy book. So if you are thinking about diving into this one, please do look up the trigger warnings. The last thing I want is for anyone to dive into this and be triggered in any way. So I will try to leave the Goodreads page for this link down below so that you can do your own research and find out if this is a book that you would like to pick up or not. For someone like me though, who is very much into true crime, a book about a true crime podcaster solving a crime just fascinates me so much, and I cannot wait to see how this all goes down in the book. And then for the show, I've decided to go for Beauty and the Beast. Of course, I had to go with one of my favourite ever Disney stories. The prompt for that is to read a retelling, and again, I have the perfect one, which is What Once Was Mine by Liz Braswell. If you can't tell, this is a retelling of Tangled, and this is the book that I was going to use earlier for the beautiful cover prompt, because I mean, look at this, guys, it's just stunning. Tangled is one of my favourite Disney films, and I cannot wait to read a retelling of it. So the question for this one is, what if Rapunzel's mother drank a potion from the wrong flower? So I really want to know how they've gone about this one. I honestly have no clue about any of these twisted tales. I'm diving in just knowing the question on the front, so I'm going to experience it completely new for the first time. But as I said with Straight On Till Morning, I'm in such a Disney mood right now. I really want to get to these books, and I'm so glad that I could fit it onto my TBR. And we have finally made it to the last park, which is Magic Kingdom. This is probably the one that everyone is the most familiar with. It does house Cinderella's castle, which is the main spectacle of the park, and it's the park I've been wanting to visit the most ever since I can remember. The attraction prompt I've gone for this one is Haunted Mansion, and the prompt is to read a spooky book. I could have definitely chosen a horror for this one, but instead I've decided to go for Bridge of Souls by Victoria Schwab. This is the third book in Victoria Schwab's creepy middle grade series, in which we follow a young girl called Cassidy Blake whose parents are ghost hunters. One day her parents are offered a television opportunity to go to different haunted cities around the globe, and these books ultimately follow Cassidy's adventures throughout these cities because she has a very strange ability. She can actually see ghosts and talk to them. So going to the most haunted cities in the world definitely put out some challenges for her, as well as keeping the fact that she can see ghosts away from her ghost hunter parents. This is such a fun but also creepy middle grade series. It's perfect for Halloween time. I have read the other two books in October as well. It's definitely a staple for me now, but unfortunately this is the last book in this series for a while now. Victoria has said she might come back to it, but at the minute this is the last book. But this one is set in New Orleans, and I just cannot wait to dive into it. As a snack, I've gone for the Dole Whip, and the prompt for this is to read a BookTube favourite. For this one, I've decided to read a book that Rachel did personally choose for me in one of my other TBRs, but once again I did fail to get to it, and that book is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I cannot tell you guys how long I've been wanting to read this book for, and I've put it onto so many of my TBRs, but I never end up getting to it, and I just don't know why. This is another one that I feel like I'm gonna love. It's a dark academia story that involves a murder, and I honestly just think that because it's been so hyped on BookTube that I'm scared to dive into it in case it doesn't live up to the hype for me. But as I've said, Rachel did choose this one for me in a previous TBR, and I thought how fitting would it be to pop this one onto this TBR instead for Rachel's own readathon. I'm not gonna give you the full synopsis of this book because I'm sure you know what it's about. If not, all I'm gonna say is that it's set in Yale, it involves secret societies, and as I've said before, it does also involve a murder. So if any of that sounds like your type of thing, you should definitely check out this book for yourselves. I'm really hoping that this does live up to the hype for me, but I'm also very scared. So if you read this book, please let me know your thoughts down below, and I'm just equal parts excited and terrified to get to this book. And now we've finally made it to the last prompt. So the show I've decided to go and see in Magic Kingdom is Festival of Fantasy, and the prompt for that is to read any book you want, but you have to start it at 3 p.m. Unfortunately for you guys, this is one that I've decided to use as a mood read as well. So I feel like one day at 3 p.m. I'm going to pick up a random book off my shelves and give it a go. It does just give me a little wiggle room for this readathon, and I'm definitely going to take that. So unfortunately I don't have a book to show you guys for this. It is just going to be one that I do pick up randomly when I feel like it. And that is it, you guys. These are all the books that I'm going to be reading for the Magical Hopathon, as well as the 2 books I'm going to be mood reading. I honestly don't know how this is going to go. I definitely need some luck, but I'm hoping that once I get into the groove of it and once I start reading again, I will fall in love with it and fly through these books. Please do let me know if you're also taking part in this readathon, and if you are and have posted a TBR for it yourselves, please do let me know. Link it down below if you want to, and I will be sure to check it out. I just think this is going to be the most magical fun month, and I honestly cannot wait for it. So thank you so much, Rachel, for creating this. I know it's going to make a load of people very happy, myself included, and I'm just so excited to get started. But that is it for this video, guys. Please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video, as well as the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you guys so much for watching. It truly really does mean the world to me, and I will see you soon in my next video. Goodbye!